I just realized I think Saints Row 5 is coming out soon.
Who?
A couple weeks. Saints
Row?
Row 5. Yeah.
I've never played it.
You haven't?
I've never played it now.
There's a lot of people looking at it as like, man, this could be like a woke game. This ain't like the same shit, but
probably
the gameplay looks fun though. So as long as the gameplay is fun and it feels like a kind of online GTA style game, that'd be kind of cool.
So you don't mind if it's a woke story though, as long as you.
Yeah, but when it comes to story, that would be disappointing. I love like a good story, but if the game can be like if you can be your own character, like what if like I don't know. I looked like when I was seeing people play, like you don't have to play as the girl that's like being pushed in the trailer. Like you can actually make your own character and play the story as a different character. So it wouldn't be like you're playing as the main character. You can choose. So if you can do that, I don't think that'd be that big of a deal.
I can understand it. What was that game that they had some woke shit in like the sequel? Was it The Last of Us?
I think it was Last of Us 2. Yeah.
Yo, niggas like, spoiler alert, they took out the main character, had some woke lesbian chick beating people up and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where did this go? So, but you wouldn't mind if that happened in the game as long as the gameplay was cool.
No, I'm talking about like,
see?
You have to have a good story for like campaign, but I'm saying if the gameplay is fly enough to keep you interested, sometimes you'll still play it. Like Spider-Man 2, for instance, it was never really about the story. Like the PS2, like it had a good story, but I'm saying it was such a fun game on free mode, free mode. That like you didn't really pay attention to the story, you're just playing the game. Like there's certain games like that where Uncharted as well. Like Uncharted such a great story, but it's also the most funnest gameplay experience ever.
I keep getting advertisements for that movie.
There's so many games that really can carry just by playing the game alone without the story. Like some games are that good. So, like the reason I look at Saints Row 5 looks cool, like they have this scene where you're driving a car and you can launch out of the car and start gliding in the air and then glide onto people's cars and shit. And then you can hop off the car onto a dirt bike. Like that'd be cool. Or I saw where like you have like a go-kart and you're dragging like a bank vault, like off of Fast and Furious 5. Like when they were remember when they were driving those cars and the bank vault was dragging across the street? They had something like that on the Saints Row 5 game. I was like, yo, this looks lit. Like that'd be fun to do. So,
all right. So let me ask you a question. They came out with a new Grand Theft Auto, right? It follows a LBGTQ LMNOZ F2, whatever, the Alphabet Mafia person who's trying to avenge her lover.
Well, I heard they're gonna make it woke. I heard GTA 6 getting woke.
Would you play it? Would I
play it? The story?
Would you fuck with it? If that story that I just said,
nah, like Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2 was like that for people too. It's like I can't get through this game. Like, oh my gosh, this is so much extra shit.
I feel like that with TV shows more than video games nowadays. Like I'll be watching some shit and then some woke shit will come and fuck it all up. But video games are definitely doing it. Everything
you can do it. I'm gonna say you could do woke shit in the show, but it couldn't be like the main story or main character. You could have certain moments where like, oh, that's some woke shit right here. But if it's like carrying the whole show, where it's like this whole show is designed to be woke, that's when it pushes people off. You know what I mean?
I agree. Like
I think there can always be woke elements in anything because that's kind of realistic of the world we live in today. So it makes sense if they put it in there because that's what we got now. But if you're gonna carry the whole show like that, people are gonna fuck with that because most people don't like woke shit in general.
I agree, 100%. Like it's certain shows like I used to love this show called The 4400. And they fucking remade that shit recently. Yeah. And that shit was so woke.
I never watched 4400. I saw the first original episodes that looked interesting. And then my brother was redoing it. I never saw the remake, but then I saw where you said, they made that shit woke as fuck.
So woke, bro. And I was hyped. I remember my older brother, he was like, yo, they making 4400. We both was hyped. He said, yo, watch it and tell me. I watched the first few episodes. I told him he was mad as hell. Like, I ain't gonna watch that shit. Because they made it so woke. The 4400 is supposed to be about a bunch of people with powers. They get like captured and they let them go, but the government's still keeping track of them. The new one, they treat them like it's like literally slavery. Mm-hmm. They have a black preacher who's always talking about how they being treated different. This shit's like so fucking like.
Is the acting good though?
Nah. Is the acting good on any CW show for the last like 20 years?
Oh yeah, I thought Arrow was fire. People gave them actors some shit though.
Season 1, season 2. Maybe you can argue season 4, and then it got bad.
But I think you're right. I don't think any CW since beginning of times have really been that great or like top notch acting. I feel like nowadays, hell yeah, like Netflix shows, they pick the right people to do roles and they become stars. They kill it. Like they know how to.
You ever saw Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop. Don't let anime be on Netflix. They can't get it right. But
the only one they got right was
Stranger Things. I thought their acting was killing it.
I just caught up with that. I just caught up in Stranger Things.
I don't know. I can't watch 4. It looks too dark for me, bro. I'm like, shit, really? This shit looks crazy. Yeah.
I love dark shit. Like, my favorite TV shows and movies are dark as fuck. Like, I love a show called Mr.
I don't know. I'm kind of like that with music too. Like, if you listen to something depressing, eventually start feeling that shit.
All right. So you never seen Mr. Robot?
Mr. Robot?
Yeah.
With Will Smith?
No, that's iRobot.
iRobot.
Mr. Robot's a TV show. You never heard of that shit?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Is that the one with that dude that can like hack shit?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, that show's fire, bro. I never got to continue, but then I was like, man, this sucks. Once you find out, like, this dude's literally just imagining shit in his head. I was like,
to some degree, it's like the narrator isn't reliable, but there's so many twists, and like by the end of the show, they explain everything.
It would have been so more fire though if they didn't do that. Like if they would have kept it how it was starting off, I was like, this would have been fire.
Trust me, it's way more fire because they did that. When you get to the end and they reveal something like one of the biggest twists, you're like, oh my God, it changes the whole show.
Yeah.
So then when you start remembering the first episode and go, now this makes mad sense.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil you it for you or everybody else that want to watch it.
There is some woke shit in there though.
I would. All right. What do you think is woke in there?
With some fruity ass shit in there.
You talking about my man? What's his name? BD Wong.
I think one of them was like mad, like catches you off guard. We're like, oh shit, I gotta fast forward this point.
Yeah, that's the point to the storyline as well. There's a lot of like fan theories. You talking about the dude that puts on the dress? Because you're not even supposed to know that that's the same person. And so,
I think it was the first season. It was like the first season. It was like one of the psycho characters in there. It's like I don't forget his name, but he shows up when they were trying to like break into that office, or like hacking the office or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, I know what you're talking about. You talking about
like the very beginning of the show.
They tried to melt down the fucking these niggas' hard drives.
Yeah.
He ended up taking the virus home with him. It was only him, Mr. Robot, and some other person was there. I don't think who else showed up that was acting kind of weird. I don't know. The only person I remember that was kind of crazy was the dude that used to.
But the fact like that all shit wasn't even real.
Nah, that's not true.
Was that real? They really did break into that?
Yeah.
So those characters he's around are real. It's just that one guy.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's okay. One guy. For the season that you watch, one person isn't real.
Okay. But that whole introduction where he meets like people to like hack into shit's real. Yeah.
You want me to I could just tell you, because if I told you, you'd be like, oh my God, that's a fire show.
No, don't tell me. I'm going to check it out. I'll still continue. But that was like the push away from, I was like, man,
nah, that
ain't real, even real. Like
that's 100% real. It's just the person who introduced him isn't real. And that's not much of a spoiler, guys. Just like in the first 2 episodes, they tell you that Mr. Robot is fake.